Johnny, we've seen governments liberally printing money recently. Is this actually legal?
Well, very true. Our government's acting illegally as they print ever greater sums of cash. Well, first of all, if you look at something called helicopter economics, where this effectively means that citizens are just given cash by the governments. It was proposed, first of all, by an economist called Milton Freidman, and he was an advisor in 1969 for Ronald Reagan and Maggie Thatcher, interestingly. Helicopter economics was also seen as a way by Ben Bernanke of the Fed in the USA to try and kickstart the Japanese economy in the 1990s. However, most governments, what they've actually been doing is rather than giving away cash, which they have to some extent, they've actually been encouraging companies to actually borrow money. And this is of great concern against the backdrop of a debt mountain of over 250 trillion that we already have. However, monetary financing is illegal. And monetary finance is when a central bank creates money and buys back government bonds, enabling a government to spend effectively without limits, as we've seen in places like Zimbabwe, as we saw with the Weimar Republic. And actually in 2014, it was prohibited for the European Central Bank to do this. And actually this activity of quantitative easing is actually being questioned by the German Constitutional Court. But if you look at the fact in America, only 41% of Americans have emergency savings of $1,000 and 33% of Brits have savings of less than £1,500. On top of that, you've got 15 companies in the S&P 500 that are net cash positive, given the amount of debt that the other companies actually have. So government, due to not being prepared for COVID-19, are having now to resort to potentially illegal activity in order to save lives, but actually, by locking down the economy, they're creating potentially what the Bank of England called the worst recession in 300 years.